All right, hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about objective 2.4, which is about solving equations with variables on both sides. But now we're going to be talking about applying the distributive property and combining like terms. So really nothing new during this lesson. We're just going to be combining pretty much everything that we've learned into one big lesson. We're going to be solving bigger equations that involve more steps. Okay. So you guys take a second. Try the do now. Pause the video right now. Try the do now, and then hit play and check your answers. All right. So number one, you should have gotten -3 plus 13x or 13 minus 3x. It'll be the same thing. Okay. And then number two, you should have gotten 2x minus 35 after you apply the distributive property and combine like terms. Okay. So let's take a look at some examples. Here we have an equation. We have a lot going on. We have the distributive property. We have parentheses, which are going to lead to the distributive property. We have variables on both sides. So let's dive right on in. The first step, simplify both sides of the equation using the distributive property and combining like terms. So we've talked about this, the fact that in order for one side of the equal sign to be simplified, there needs to be no parentheses and there needs to be no like terms to combine. So to get rid of the parentheses, I'm going to apply the distributive property. So 2 times 5x is going to give me 10x. 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. And then the minus 2x is going to be hanging out by itself because it's not inside the parentheses. Okay? On the right side, my 7 is going to be hanging out by itself. 3 times 2x gives me 6x. And 3 times 3 gives us 9. All right. Actually, I made a mistake here. 2 times 2 is not 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So be careful. 2 times 5x is going to give me 10x. And then 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. All right. So now I'm going to combine like terms. So 10 minus 2x is going to give me 8x plus 4 on the left. On the right, my 7 and my 9 is going to be combined to be 16 plus 6x. Okay. So now I need to get the variables on one side. So the first step is done. I simplified both sides by using the distributive property and combining like terms. Now I need to isolate the variable on one side. So I'm going to subtract 6x to keep our variable positive. Okay, these are going to cancel. It's going to leave me with 2x plus 4 equals 16. And now after I subtract 4 on both sides, I'm going to get 2x equals 12. And now I divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 6. All right, so we isolated the variable, we subtracted 6x on both sides, and then we solved the equation like we've been doing the entire unit. And now we're going to check, like always. Okay, so to check, we're going to take our 6, we're going to plug it in wherever we see an x. So let's copy down the original equation. 2 times 5x plus 2 minus 2x equals 7 plus 3 times 2x plus 3. 7 plus 3 times 2x plus 3. All right? Okay, so now wherever we see an x, we're just going to plug in our 6, see if we get the right answer. So we have 2 times 5 times 6 plus 2 minus 2 times 6. We want to see if that's going to be the same thing as 7 times 3 times 2 times 6 plus 3. Okay, so now I don't really want to do all this. I just want to use my Desmos, right? Make our lives a little easier. So I'm going to open up my Desmos graphing calculator, and then on one of my cells, I'm going to type in what's in green, and then on my other, I'm going to type in what's in yellow, and I should get the same number. So 2 times 5 times 6 plus 2 minus 2 times 6. Just be very careful with how you put the parentheses. That's going to give me 52. And then on the right side, I should get 52 as well. So let's see, 7 plus, whoops, I always do that. 7 plus 3 times 2 times 6 plus 3 also gives me 52. So I know that my answer is correct. Okay? So let's take a look at two more, but before we do again, just make sure you follow these steps. You apply the distributive property, you combine like terms, and then after you solve the equation like we've always been doing this unit, just make sure you check your work. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more. So here we have 5 times x minus 3 equals negative 21 plus 2x. So I'm going to apply the distributive property again. So 5 times x gives me 5x. 5 times minus 3 is going to give me minus 15. Be careful with your negative signs. Okay? Now, this looks like everything we've been dealing with this whole unit, or what we dealt with in 2.3. I have variables on both sides. I'm in simplest form, so I'm almost there. So now I'm going to get the variable by itself, isolate the variable. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. These are going to go away. We're going to be left with 3x minus 15 equals negative 21. Okay, add 15 to both sides. Get 3x equals negative 6. Okay, after we divide both sides by 3, we get x equals negative 2. Okay, now we got to check. So take our original equation, 5 times x minus 3 equals negative 21 plus 2x. And now whenever I see an x, I'm going to plug in my negative 2. Okay, let's just do this without decimals for now. So negative 2 minus 3 gives us negative 5. Negative 2 times, 2 times negative 2 is going to give us negative 4. And on both of these sides, we're going to get negative 25. So we know our answer is correct. All right? So that's model number 1. We're pretty much doing the same thing we've been doing all year. We're just adding everything together into to solve more complicated problems. Okay? One more example we'll do together. Okay? 2p plus 3 times p minus 2 equals 4 minus 5 times p minus 1. Okay? So on the left, we're going to apply the distributive property. We have 2p plus 3p minus 6. On the right, that 4 is going to be by itself because it's not inside the parentheses. Then we have minus 5p plus 5. Be careful, negative times a negative is positive. Okay? Now we got to combine like terms on both sides. So 2p plus 3p gives us 5p minus 6. 4 plus 5 gives us 9. Okay. All right. All right. So now we're almost there. We're going to add 5p to both sides. We're going to isolate the variable. Keep it positive. So we have 10p minus 6 equals 9. All right. We're going to add 6 to both sides. We get 10p equals 15. And now after we divide both sides by 10, we're actually going to get a decimal. We're going to get p equals 1.5, or you can write 3 over 2. Either way. Okay? Now let's check our work here. I'm definitely going to use the decimals calculator here to check it to help us. Alright? So we have 2p plus 3 times p minus 2 equals 4 minus 5 times p minus 1. And then wherever we see a p, we're going to plug in our 1.5. So 2 times 1.5 plus 3 times 1.5 minus 2. equals 4 minus 5 times 1.5 minus 1. And we should get the same thing when we plug this into Desmos and when we plug this into Desmos. We should get the same number. So let's see. All right. Let's see. 2 times 1.5 plus 3 times 1.5 minus 2 is going to give us 1.5. And then on the right side, we're going to get 4 minus 5 times 1.5 minus 1. And we get 1.5. So on both sides, we're going to get the same thing. 1.5, 1.5. So we know our answer is correct. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, that's objective 2.4. As always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. There's a little summary for you to read on this lesson for you to reference on your own. Okay? Guys, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.